Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of The Curse of the Collector. That's right. It's that time of the month again. No, not that time of the month. This time of the month where we show off a couple of things that we picked up recently and, cool little collectibles. They could be CDs, LPs, box sets, whatever it might be, but they're cool to us and we're here to show them off. So we got in the house today. We got Mr. Jamie Laszlo coming off that wonderful Cadaver ranking the albums that we just did. That was loads of fun. We've got all the way from Scotland, Mr. Davey Gallagher, from the state of Texas, Scott Berry, and from up in the Great White North. Well, not all the way up there. Yeah, just, north of me. Armando Vendi, what's happening?
Doing good. Morning, everyone.
Morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you guys might be from who are watching. Thanks for tuning in. We've got some cool stuff to show you today. So as we normally do, we go 2 rounds here. Each person has something to show off in each round. We're going to go in the same order that I just introduced everybody. So we'll go Jamie, Davey, Scott, Armando, and myself, and then we'll go for our second round. So Jamie, what do you got today?
First of all, I'd like to thank Stephen Reed. He should be a used car salesman because he sold me on this. I ordered it. As he was talking about it, I was ordering it. Yeah, and he's right. It does sound great. It's now my go-to. This album's been growing on me for 40 years. And I still think the last quarter of it grooves so much that when it's not grooving, I miss the groove, when it starts going here and there. But yeah, it sounds great. And it's still growing on me. But I got new releases. And what I got is, this is polarizing. It's the first Ozzy Osbourne album I bought new since I don't even think I bought Osmosis when it was brand new. So the first one since No More Tears. And I know Pete's like I like the guitar playing, but I don't like the songs. I like the songs. I like a lot of these songs, and I'm shocked how much I like some of these songs. I think the title track, Patient Number 9, is his best song since No More Tears, I think. Yeah, it's been stuck in my head all morning. I'm not getting out. It's not getting out of my head is what it's not getting out. I think Immortal and Parasite, the very next, like track 2 and 3 are but after that, I think I like just about everything. And it does have talk about Happy Trail song. It does have a Happy Trail song with Dark Side Blues, which is just like a minute and a half of him sounding like Robert Johnson, on really old equipment and stuff. Yeah. So here it is. Degradation Rules. Martin Popoff just did a top 20 Ozzy Osbourne, his top 20 favorite songs. He put that at number 14 already. Number 14 above Diary of a Madman. I don't know if you know this, but he has this channel that he created called The Contrarians. Martin makes being contrarian, I swear to God, like an art form. When he does that kind of list, and
I'm gonna have to have a talk with Martin about this right here. Yeah.
Look at his list of Ozzy Osbourne favorite songs. A lot of Bark. I know Bark at the Moon is his favorite Ozzy song, and it's well represented there in the top 10, top 5. So it's an interesting list, and it's interesting to have something so new already in there. And I got Pete. I'm sure we're gonna see this Wednesday from you. I don't mean to steal your thunder. I won't get too much into it, but I got the new Megadeth as well. And it's cool to play, if you're into old bands putting out new music, you've had a treat in 2022. Just to name a few, you got a decent new Scorpions album, you got a decent new Megadeth album, and to my ears, you got a decent new Ozzy album. It's like 1986 and 2022. So there's a certain charm to all these bands putting out decent.
Jethro Tull as well.
Jethro, you got a King's X, that decent album.
King's X. Elvis Costello released a banger. Neil Young.
Pat
Travers' new album's getting a lot of buzz in this kind of circle. I mean, I'm not saying 14-year-olds are going and downloading it or anything, but in this circle, it's getting a lot of buzz. This album, I'm shocked how much I've been listening to it. It's everything is kind of represent. I haven't liked the Megadeth album since The System Has Failed, because they really started focusing on 13 and what's those other albums, Endgame. They've been focusing on how fast can we play, how heavy can we be. and they forgot to write good songs, or they weren't able to write good songs, so they made up for it by just playing fast and heavy. They'll like that. They won't even notice that this is a shit song almost. But if you like those albums, good for you. This represents a little bit of every era, and I love how it represents some of the 90s stuff, some of that pop sensibility stuff, because that's what I miss. I know I'm also on the Contrarians, by the way. And saying that, I will say Cryptic Writings might be my favorite Megadeth album, because I love those hooks. I love the songs. And I even like Risk. I get the hate for Risk. I understand the hate for it. But some of the Breadline is a great song. Crush 'em. Oh my God. If I owned a hockey arena and a hockey team, that song would be playing every time my team hit the ice. Crush 'em. Welcome to the arena. Come on. It's made for hockey. This, I love that it has a astronaut on it. What's the hell's the name of the astronaut song? I just got this shit together 10 minutes before the show started, guys. I think we know what we're talking. Oh, Mission to Mars. The lyrics are dumb. I wanna be an astronaut. It sounds like a 10-year-old in the back seat telling his mom what he wants to be when he grows up. But the song is so cool. It sounds like one of those pop rock metal songs from the 90s that they did. And I'm so happy they went back to that on a few tracks. And on a few of the tracks go to that style in the middle. You know, it might be thrashy, and then it goes into a little pop hook and comes back out. So yeah, big a fan of that as well. And if you got this vinyl version, you got the 3D cover, and it also came with it's numbered in the back. I don't know if you could see that, and I don't know what those numbers are. I believe it's 11820 of 13,000. Yeah, there's a lot of these made. This is no collector's item. And it came with a little 45 that I just took out a second ago. I don't know. But it came with a little 45 of the single We'll Be Back and a live track on the back. I haven't played that because playing 45s is a pain in the ass. I got to take off turntable platter, switch the rubber band thing, the belt thing to the next thing, put it just to play one song. No,
Really?
Yeah, the nicer turntable you have, the more pain in the ass it is. Get a cheap one.
Yeah.
You just have a little clicky thing on the end. Get a real nice one, and it's a pain in the ass.
I don't have a turntable.
There you go.
Okay.
And I also got a new dog.
I saw that.
Yes, hello Hitchcock.
His name is Hitchcock.
What's up,
And I
Hitch?
just learned yesterday, when I leave the house, he misses me so much he destroys the fucking house. Destroyed it.
Yeah, we got that problem too.
So the
We got
cage
the
will be
two,
here
so we
Wednesday.
understand. Yeah.
You come back, oh, you hear
The blinds, pictures off the wall, things he can't reach, things I can barely reach on the floor.
Oof.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, start bringing in places that accept dogs. That's what you got to do.
There's a potential for some real carnage there, Jamie.
Yeah, the cage will be here Wednesday. I got the biggest cage I could find.
Also, find a room in the house that you don't really have a lot of stuff in, and get yourself a gate, and that's his place for when you're gone. Make sure he's got, some toys and things like that. I could have a whole conversation with you if had a.
That room doesn't exist in this house. I even got collectibles in my fucking bathroom.
Gotcha. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Well,
We were talking about
Another
the
feeling.
time to dog proof the house there. It's really bad.
I was hoping to be able to do a Megadeth and Blind Guardian new album release reviews on Wednesday, but Amazon still hasn't shipped them to me, so I don't know what's going on.
Well, my buddy Tyler over at LP Tremors reviewed it, and he loved it. And he thinks it's the best.
Get the Rock Fantasy and cancel your order.
Yeah,
I'm actually
going
the
there in a
vinyl
little
as
while.
well. So
Yeah, I'm going there in a little while. I might actually do that because it's taking way too long. So anyway, Davey, what do you got?
yeah, I'm noticing that as well, that a lot of new release stuff isn't even getting dispatched until the day of release, never mind sent for the release day. That's happening a lot more now.
Yeah.
Anyway, first world problems, courtesy of good friends at Townsend Music. This is the quintessential example of something that nobody needs. Absolutely nobody needs, but if you're a fan, you might want. Which is obviously part of being the curse of the collector. It's Emerson, Lake and Palmer's 7-inch vinyl singles. So it's been released just in the past couple of weeks there, with a lovely kind of foily cover. By the way, have you seen Emerson, Lake and Palmer reunited this week? That's the
I saw
comeback.
that.
That's the comeback of the year, isn't it? That's
I
the
saw
news of
that.
that. Bloody hell.
That'd be a hell of a
so-
trick.
Yeah, although to be fair, they're not doing the hologram shtick; they're just having the big screens and things. So hey,
Right.
so
They're
Carl
looking
needs,
Still kind of weird, but yeah.
yeah.
It's a rip
Speaking of
off.
which, though,
Boring.
these all come signed by Carl, so that's pretty good. I don't know what happened to Keith and Greg if they're coming back. I don't know why they didn't sign this, but you know, whatever. And the cool thing about this is it's just a kind of, we know that you're fanboys and you'll like this kind of shit. And we're not even going to pretend to sell this to casual audiences because it's just a collection of like international singles and things. So there's like Lucky Man with Knife Edge on the B side. So they're not just British ones or American ones, they're from all over and they're all on different coloured vinyl. So they're all kind of gimmicky and sticky, and there's, you know, it goes up to like Affairs of the Heart and stuff, you know, which is much later on. And even that's on kind of dark green vinyl. So they're kind of appealing to the real. Yeah, we know you're geeks. You're probably buying this to get it signed by Carl Palmer, but you also want some cool stuff. And actually, it's got some cool things in regards of, it's got B-sides that are only collected on rarity sets, and it's got strange things like, hey, we've always wanted to have the Can Rio Always Wanted You Love Beach single, haven't we? It's not on brown vinyl, folks. It's not on brown vinyl. It's on love vinyl, baby. Love vinyl. Yeah. So, but I mean, even the Christmas ones on kind of snow-colored vinyl.
Best
you know,
Christmas song ever.
I Believe in Father Christmas, backed with Jerusalem. So, you know, that's on a lovely red and white, you know, Santa Clausy Father Christmas vinyl. And yeah, it's just a kind of cool set of Around the World. I mean, there's Brain Salad Surgery, which isn't even on Brain Salad Surgery, but they've reused the artwork because that's from the works. They've reused the artwork to put it on that. And I think this is a Dutch pressing, and that's on see-through vinyl.
Oh, yeah.
Virgin
Cool.
vinyl. So just the same kind of shtick over and over, but there's a Japanese one, for example, of, again, Brain Salad Surgery, and Fanfare for the Common Man's the A-side on that. But yeah, that's on yellow vinyl, and they've all got the individual labels from the country it represents. Again, all come signed by Carl Palmer. So if you're an ELP fan, I'll get there eventually. Fanfare for the, yes, whatever. If you're an ELP fan, then yeah, this might be a little bit too far even for you. But if you're an ELP person who wants something nice for your shelf to go, yeah, it's a really nice little souvenir and a little thank you very much to the guys, and I look forward to seeing them on the road in a few months. But no, it's nice to have these little relics represented and put out in a nice gimmicky box, autographed and strange sleeves from around the world, different color vinyl, and yeah, why not celebrate one of the great bands of the progressive genre? So, ELP.
What's the price point on that?
I believe ELP singles, 12 times 7-inch singles box set is the name of the set. If you want it, it's not got a catchy title, unfortunately. But the price retails around £67. So you're talking about $75, $80, something like that. Townsend Music are the ones who sent me that. So I'd recommend looking into it from the UK if it's more expensive in America, because it's, again, the first 1,000 or something are signed by Carl. And it just looks lovely as well. You know.
I saw
Just
Carl
sitting-
Palmer a couple years ago when he was doing that ELP experience or something like
Yeah.
that with
Legacy.
Crazy World of Arthur Brown.
Mhm.
And I met him after the show, and he signed this cool drum head.
very
That's
cool.
nifty.
That's
That is
cool.
really
Yeah.
nifty.
Cool.
Yeah,
That is
2019.
That's cool.
That's
So
pretty
yeah,
cool.
just some ELP love, which funnily enough Armando mentioned before we went on the air. But yeah, some curios reproduced in a nice little box set for geeks, nerds. and
Yeah, definitely for the
absolute
geeks. All the different
yeah.
color vinyl is definitely an appeal, I would think.
Definitely for the collector.
I'm not
Yes.
playing that on my turntable, changing the belt. every fucking
No,
month.
no. It's
Jamie, before I
I'm-
forget, how's Hitchcock getting along with your other dog and your cats and whatnot?
Ricky Tick Took a couple days to warm up to him. He swat him. This dog could eat it. It's a pit bull. Could eat him alive. And Ricky swats at him and he runs away. I'm like, dude, one chomp and he's taken care of. Pussy. He's so lovable. When my other dog Miley comes in from being outside, he waits and gives her kisses as she walks in.
Very cool. That's good. It's good to see harmony like that. So awesome.
Yeah.
Scott.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Pete. Well, my first pick today is someone we were talking about just before we started recording, Mr. Elton John. Bought this on Discogs recently.
Okay.
Back in June for $8, and this is the double disc version. And this, been a fan of his since I can remember. His songs were all over the radio when I was a kid, and many of those songs still get played pretty regularly today. My parents have Honky Chateau, which I heard a lot. Rocket Man songs. First album I ever got was Rock of the Westies in 1975. And have all the studios from the 70 to 70 grade, and plus 3 live albums, and that would include 11, 17, 70.
Great. Yeah.
Great snapshot of the early period.
Yep.
Yeah, I have that on vinyl actually.
And
They've
from the
released the
80s,
full concert now.
live with the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra.
That's
Best
a
live
terrific
album
one.
ever.
Jamie
Live in Sydney, yeah.
inspired me to get this one. But this, to me, this is the meat and potatoes. This was recorded, it's released in 76, originally on a single LP. The shows, it's 2 different shows. One recorded in London at Royal Albert Hall. The other recorded in New York at Madison Square Garden, and both in 1974, 2 years prior to the release. It got upgraded to 2 discs in 1995. 1 disc for each show now, and a lot more songs. Got about 25 songs across 2 discs, and only 2 of which get repeated. But the songs are different enough that it keeps it. And Elton's in top form here, peak of his powers and his popularity. Always been a consummate performer throughout his career, and several of his longtime band members are here, including guitarist Davey Johnstone, bassist Dee Murray, drummer Nigel Olsson, and percussionist Ray Cooper.
Yeah, the core of the band.
Yeah, the Elton John band, yeah.
That is the meat and potatoes right there. Wealth of great material, is just staggering. Played on 2 continents. Nice little bonus on the New York show is there were 3 songs that he performed with John Lennon. Whatever Gets You Through the Night, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, and I sing there. And the 2 had recorded Whatever Gets You Through the Night recently for John's Walls and Bridges album. Yeah. And they had a running bet that if the song went to #1, that Lennon would join Elton on stage when he played New York, which happened, and Lennon was glad to oblige. They both sound like they're just having a great time here. And sadly, that would end up being John Lennon's final live performance ever, because he
Really
went into semi-retirement not long afterward to raise his son. And then when he came back with his album in 5 years, what happened?
fantasy. Yeah.
Mark David Chapman happened, unfortunately, yeah.
Mother, yeah. Anyway, excellent set list on both shows, and the different versions of the 2 songs they're both worth hearing. Your Song and Take Me to the Pilot are the ones that get repeated. So if you're an Elton fan and don't have this and decide to get it, definitely make sure you get the 2 discs. Keep an eye out, because there's a there, and one disc, it's all good stuff too, but it's just a lot less. And
I just have a question. Why do they do that? Why do they release a single live album? Don't do that.
that's one
It's
for
sacrilege.
the
I'm sorry.
Sometimes when they put these live albums out, they have the rights to certain performances.
Yeah.
Later on, they get, now we have access to these songs.
Well, it draws from the same 2 performances. It's just they got more songs from each
Yeah.
show. I'm not sure either of these shows is complete though, to be honest with you.
And also it's contractual as well a lot of the time, where if Elton does a 2-record set, that counts as 2 records in his contract. So the record company
Exactly.
say,
And this
no,
kind of
we'd rather
comes at
have-
the end.
we'd rather have a
of that.
studio, or can you give
Yeah.
us a double live, because that will sell
Yeah.
if you're on a slump, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I didn't mean to cause a debate. I just had a question.
Unfortunately,
on one
after
of
Not a
them.
that,
debate,
yeah,
we're
you were in
talking.
a slump for a while.
So, yeah.
And
I
my
never
wife and I
owned it.
saw him. My wife and I saw him about 4 years ago in San Antonio, beginning of the farewell tour, and he was in great form then. Still, with many of the same band members I mentioned earlier, with the exception of Dee Murray, who passed away in 1992. And that tour with a delay because of COVID. And I just the other day that he dedicated "Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me" to the Queen upon her passing.
Yeah, I think he was in Toronto.
So that's it.
I never owned the album until last spring. I went to a 50-cent sale where I bought 90 CDs, and my wife is still pissed at me about that. Where are you putting all that? And they had this for 50 cents. I could not believe it.
Been there, done
First
that,
time
Jamie.
I've ever bought it too.
And Elton is one of those great artists where he will, because he sold so many, just like anybody who sold that many copies, people pass away or people downsize in retirement, these kind of things. So you will find them in the used bins really cheap, you know, like any major artists. So yeah, it's not someone you need to splash out a lot of money on. So it's really good. Good kind of guy to get into that one.
And you did get the double there, right, Jamie?
Yes, that's the double one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see a lot of Elton John in the cheap bins.
Yep.
Right next to the Gin Blossoms and the Blues Travelers.
But there's just a lot of Elton John out there, period.
and the Bush CDs,
Oh, yeah.
Razor,
Yeah.
whatever that is, Razor Blade.
Bush,
CK.
yeah.
He's had 3 #1 singles in the UK in the past 6 months alone. The guy's still absolutely massive.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Armando.
Okay, well, Bob's gonna come in on the shot with me here. I'm gonna turn this.
Hello, Bob.
Well,
Ah, look at that.
Oh, 188
that we
pick.
have here is
Mr.
the
Zappa.
latest Zappa set, Zappa Eerie. It came out, I believe, came out in June. And me being who I am, I had to get the limited edition 6 CD set. This was recorded in Erie, Pennsylvania, between 74 and 76. You have 3 full shows on 6 discs. And it's the lineup with Chester Thompson on drums, George Duke, what's his name? Brock on vocals. Now my head's going.
Napoleon Murphy Brock. Yeah, I
Napoleon
think
Murphy
Ruth
Brock.
Underwood, I think, was in the band
Vocals.
too at that time.
Ruth Underwood is absent from
Oh, she
the
is.
first show
Okay.
because she
About
was
to
off
say.
getting married in 74. But yeah, it's we're gonna open it up to some of us here. And yeah, it's lovely green background, right? Doesn't against my bald head.
It's lame.
It's 72. Thank you, David.
Oh, the color.
72 tracks overall. For example, the first concert, the first show, which is at the Edinburgh College on May 8th, between May 8th and the dates are May 8th to November 12th of 74. That concert alone has 23 tracks. So you have like Cosmic Debris, Don't You Ever Watch That Thing? Dupree's Paradise, which is like a 22-minute opus. Dupree's Paradise intro itself is like 14 minutes and change. So, I mean, it's an expansive set, and some of these tracks, are repeated, but they're done different. Like he goes into like extended jams, etc.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a fantastic set. In terms of the price point, it was going for 174. I waited to it went down to like 146. And that was with tax and stuff. So yeah, I'm not suggesting everyone buy it. I'm saying if you want it, look around, compare pricing and stuff, and then go get it. And also, guys, October 14th, Live 75
Another one,
comes
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Already comes out. Already pre-ordered. $33
Where's that?
on
That's
Amazon.
Yugoslavia or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Belgrade. Or
Yeah.
something.
But for the Zappa collector, and I got to tell you, I got into Zappa after watching SOT, just getting used to his stuff. I really wasn't used to his stuff growing up, in my teens and 20s. But yeah, no, it's a good set. It's a really good set. I was listening to it yesterday. So yeah.
I'm wondering if at some point they're going to come out with like a little
That's my first
condensed
one.
version of that. Because
They
I have
don't
an
really
issue
do that.
with these big things with, because I just
like the Halloween mask one that they did a few years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
because they usually, I mean, they always
Trouble finding
put out
a place
multiple
for it,
versions of
yeah.
these. Yeah, I got to find, it's where do you put them on a shelf? But,
It's not just that, it's the fact that it's 6 discs, and then because they, it's Zappa, they'll bump it up to $150. I mean, you split that up into discs.
But again, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to get this. I'm saying if
Well,
if
no,
you
and
want
clearly
to
we're on
get
the
it-
show called The Curse of the Collectors.
right.
Yeah,
Most
yeah,
Zappa
and-
aficionados are going to want to get that. At
There
some
just
point.
But
seems
that
to be
does-
such a
and-
wide range.
The curse is
price
real.
points
I
for,
mean,
for
so
multi-disc sets.
Yeah.
One band could put one out, and it's like Tull, for instance. The fifth, you got the box sets they've been coming out with, and they're
Yeah,
Well,
which
well,
for
more
example,
content, and they
45,
cost
50
a
bucks.
quarter of the price. Yeah,
not talking about collectors' prices, just retail. And
it's
then
not, but
Yeah.
the Zappa thing, same number of discs. Did you say it was 6, Armando?
Mhm.
6 discs. It's
You're looking at 150
no
bucks?
video. Yeah.
no, it's
What the hell?
it's all audio. It's 3 full shows. You do have some repeats, but again, he does different variations, different versions,
Yeah.
jam sessions here and there. So I mean,
I know
sounds awesome.
Zappa fans will put down the cash more than
Yeah.
the other
Yeah.
bands.
That's it. They know their market.
He's definitely got
Exactly.
some very fanatical.
Yeah.
exactly.
They know they're
also-
retired. They probably got some money,
Yeah.
work,
Yeah.
nice pension, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, and if you want it, it's there. I mean,
like, to
I've
Scott
loved it
and
for a long
Davey's
time.
point, it's like you can, that's something like this. I was not going to show this, but it's a perfect example. So this is a Herbie Hancock radio broadcast collection, 73 to 83, and it's got 8 CDs in this kind of cool little, clamshell box, right? Everything fits in here nicely, fits on the
$20
shelf, got a booklet, and this is like,
Yeah.
$30. or
30,
whatever,
yeah.
right? It's like, so
Because radio broadcast
I
copyright
know what
much
I'm
faster.
looking
Yeah.
for now.
Yeah.
just so you know, my next one is a little more, reasonable in terms of price range. So
Well, it's not. It's
don't
not.
shoot me
it's
in the
Zappa
comments.
estate.
It sounds
Don't shoot
awesome,
me in the
Armando.
It's
comments.
the Zappa estate, Armando. It's the fact that they don't let people have a minute's break. I mean, literally, that next one was announced about 10 seconds after this one was out. I mean, it's like
Pretty
so
much, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
Frank
and-
taped every one of his performances. That's
Yeah.
They've been cranking them out.
Kids and his family
Yeah.
are like, all right, well, let's release all this, and why not? I mean, we all want to hear them, so it's
But again, I'm also new. Just not before we move on. I'm also new to the Zappa catalog, right? Like in terms of the live stuff. I mean, I know Anthony Ferraro said, you don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I don't intend to go down that rabbit hole. I'm trying
Wow.
not to go down that
once you
rabbit
start
hole.
though, it's hard.
he's
But
got enough
the curse
on the rabbit hole.
one disc great live things that you can start with. If with the Roxy stuff, obviously, and blah blah blah.
And to Peter's point about the storage, about being able to put it away in a like because it's so big and in terms it's a book basically, right?
Yeah.
So you have to try and find a spot for it where I can easily reach it without bothering Bob. Like, can you reach this for me? Like it's hard, but it's the curse. What are you gonna do?
That's right.
Exactly.
All right, so my first selection of the day, it's actually 2 here. They're from the same label, and they're not really related, but sort of, I guess. Some of you might be familiar with Rise Above Records. We also have a subdivision called Rise Above Relics, whereas they pull out some cool stuff from the vault.
Yeah,
Rise
some
Above
goodies,
is
yeah.
mainly a label that promotes like doom and hard rock and psychedelic rock and that sort of thing. The Rise Above Relics is stuff from the vaults that also similar type of music. So these 2 little collections here are both UK bands who were in existence from like 1970 to 75 or right around that time period. The first band is called Barnabas, Beginning to Unwind. So they only ever released 1 album. In fact, I don't even think it ever got released. It got recorded, not released. They played quite a bit back in the day. Like I said, both these bands are from the UK. Here is, once we take the slipcase off, very kind of DIY artwork there. You get the CD and loads of photographs of the bands. I'll take the booklet out real quick just so you can see it. Both of these bands I'm going to show you right here are kind of like late 60s, early 70s psych meets early proto-prog meets early proto-metal, sort of. So think like, and they're both power trio bands, but they utilize keyboards and all sorts of sound effects and things like that. So think like maybe like Mark I era Deep Purple, Vanilla Fudge, Iron Butterfly, and maybe a little Jimi Hendrix Experience, that sort of thing. So it's very psychedelic sounding. You get great, I mean, the Rise Above always has great booklets here, loaded with information.
I love those booklets.
So good. I mean, you can just sit down and go through this great photographs. I mean, they have unearthed all sorts of cool stuff from the vaults. See, there's a little live performance, right? Little concert bill, right? So I mean, these were not, by no means major bands. These were underground bands that probably had a small little local following, but the music's really good, and it's, you know, the recordings are what you'd expect, but it's very listenable. And that's the first one. So that's Barnabas, Beginning to Unwind. And the other one is a band called Cycle. The album is called Cosmic Clouds, also an English band. They released 2 albums that disappeared quickly. This CD collection brings both of those albums together, and I'll pull this one out as well. So you got the slipcase, cover is basically the same. CD, again, lots of live shots. And then once again, an amazing booklet that basically tells you anything and everything you'd ever want to know from this band. This band utilizes a lot more kind of studio trickery. This is definitely the more kind of psychedelic progressive.
They've got somebody involved with them that went on to major things, and I can't remember who it is. If it's just somebody, an engineer or something, but somebody involved with the band went on to something.
Yeah, was it the bass player? I forget.
Yeah.
See,
maybe
that's
not massive
great.
in the popular
great.
sense, but like
Those-
for music geeks. But yeah.
I love those booklets because they give you
Yeah.
all the information you want. And
That's it.
Yeah.
This is
Literally
basically
sit
your documentary
your-
or your little
yeah.
biography of the band, which is really cool.
You're, they also
that's
serve.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And both bands have, you know, there's this share of heavier tunes, more atmospheric psychedelic stuff, kind of proggy stuff. You know, neither one of these bands are straight up, because, you know, they're both trios. They're not straight up bluesy power trios. They actually do a lot of other different types of things, but both really cool. If you like this underground early 70s kind of heavy music, heavy proggy psychedelic music, Cycle and Barnabas, both really cool. Both of these are available on Rise Above Records, Rise Above Relics. They've got a ton of great stuff on the label if you love this sort of thing. So I would highly recommend checking them out.
How'd you find out about these guys, Pete?
That's what I was gonna say. People go, "Pete, how does Pete find out about these bands that have one album?
You just,
How do you
you
find
need
out
to be
about a
on
band
mailing-
that
well, you need to
never
be on
got
mailing
released?"
lists
Their
for
album?
labels. Well, if you're on mailing lists for labels, you just get sent. You know,
Yeah,
these
these
players.
two, you know, sometimes I pay close attention to, like when I'm on checking stuff out on YouTube or I'm on Amazon or whatever, and you get the recommendations. I look at a lot of recommendations and I go and I investigate. And that's generally how I hear about stuff like this. Because otherwise I'm like, I'm even thinking myself, is that how I found out about these two? Maybe. I mean, I follow a lot of stuff on this label anyway. So it could have been just that. But I mean, I got these very recently. And I think these were just recommendations that I saw and just investigated. So there's so much of this stuff out there.
I'm guessing there's videos of video footage of this band playing back in the day.
I don't know, Scott. I mean, you
I
can
mean,
definitely-
like on
Maybe
YouTube,
maybe
that
for
kind of
Cycle.
yeah, you can listen to
I'm
this
pretty
stuff.
sure.
I mean, all this is available on YouTube, but I don't know about
I
live.
think Cycle played
Unless-
Glastonbury.
YouTube is a
I think
wonderful
they played
resource.
Years ago. Yeah, so there might be. I don't think I've seen any live footage of them, but all the music is on YouTube. So,
Cool.
all right, Jamie, back to you. Your final pick of the day.
Yeah, and I recommend to people, if you buy something off Amazon and you look at the bottom there while you're checking out and it says customers also bought, check that stuff out. Scroll through it and go on YouTube and listen to it. You might find something really cool.
Go see.
Whose dog is barking? Is that mine?
No, it's my dog because she heard somebody beeping Davies outside Davies' window.
I'm surprised my dog isn't going nuts.
There's no
Hearing
beeping here.
I
For
heard
once,
it
the
be-
police are not at my door, Armando, believe it
No,
or not.
well, good for you, actually, no,
Yeah.
but there was a beep sound. It wasn't here, but it was on the video and Nala started barking. I'm sorry. She,
Probably a pacemaker.
I am so sorry, guys. It's the perils of having a dog, right? Two
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah, we always.
Dogs bark, Armando. That's their job.
Yep.
At least it doesn't chew your house apart.
There you go.
We'll get to that after we get off air. JP, it's hard. So
Yeah. So a family member of COT recently got a job with Alice Cooper, Sydney Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what she's doing, but
Good
her
for
boss
Sydney.
is Alice Cooper, and that's pretty freaking cool.
that's fantastic. Yeah.
So yeah, my boss is Amy Davis, and that's not as cool as saying Alice Cooper. But I thought I'd bust out something cool from Alice Cooper that I got in November 23rd of 2018. You know, they have record store day, right? Like
Yeah.
during the summer. And then they have like a mini record store day on Black Friday. And sometimes I will go out. I used to say, who gets up early to go out on Black Friday? You know, idiots. Well, I'm out there sometimes in line if there's something I really want. So I went out real early in 2018, and I picked this up on a whim. I almost didn't get it. And it's Alice Cooper live at the AstroTurf. And the story
Lord.
behind this album, it's hard to see because I'm keeping that shrink wrap on there. The story of it is I cut and pasted a bunch of shit from wiki here. It features 8 tracks performed by the original lineup of the Alice Cooper band. And that is, let's see, we got Neil Smith, Dennis Dunaway. My print came up
Glenn
weird.
Burton.
Michael Bruce and Ryan Roxy filling in for Glenn Burton. Is that Glenn Burton who passed away? It's hard to see how this printed out. But here's the thing. One of the dudes was doing a book signing for his book.
Glenn Buxton. Actually.
Which guy was doing?
I was combining 2 names. Glenn Buxton. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So one of the guys was doing a book signing, and like 200 people showed up to get their book signed, and they had no idea Alice was even in the house. And then they came out and did this reunion show as the Alice. They're actually introduced as the 8th wonder of the world, the Alice Cooper band, which is really cool.
Okay.
And they come out and they do this meat and potatoes set. Like there's no long drawn out songs like Black Widow or I Love the Dead. It's just banger after banger, and it sounds incredible. I mean, it's one of the best produced live albums I have. And Alice sounds like, you listen to this and you go, is that a performance from 1972, 1973? Well, maybe not that, but they sound lively, and you can tell they're having a blast in front of. When you listen to this, you feel like the 201st person in the place, you know, and it's just a little record store or something like that. And Alice actually makes a joke. You know, the banter is great. He makes a joke saying, yeah, we'll be playing the White Castle down the street next week. So he's up there being hilarious. You know, I posted like 10 albums yesterday, not separately. I took a picture of each album I listened to, then made one post of my journey throughout the day of what I listened to. Every album got a thumbs up or a like in its separate picture, except this one. And I'm thinking that's only because you never heard it.
You don't know.
If you heard it, this would have got 10,000 hearts, man.
Probably, yeah.
This
Probably,
is
yeah.
great.
Well, could you
And,
tell what it was with the glare, Jamie?
yeah, maybe it was the glare. And you
that
still
was the
see there's a
problem.
lot of glare there. But you could see it was Alice, and you could read it on the picture.
I mean, it looks
Is
like
there any
the
way you
same
could have
font they
positioned
used
it?
on Love It to Death.
Yes, it
Is
is.
there any way you could have positioned it so there wasn't that much glare?
I can't even position it
Yeah, it
now.
doesn't look as if it's going to happen, does it?
Okay.
There's nothing
Okay.
I can do. I can take
Getting a
off the
sense
screen,
of
but
it.
that ain't happening.
Just staring at the sun.
Yeah. But this is the thing. So when I did grab this, it comes in like 13, 12, 15 different colors, something like that. Each one it has like, you can get 1,000 in pink, 500 in white. The green I got, there's only 200 that exist in the green. Where is it? So the green, there's only
That's
200.
cool. I
And
like
all these copies, depends on what color, sell for at least $100, you know, on Discogs. So it's hard to come by.
Yeah.
And there's a documentary that goes with this. And I was like, I didn't even know. I was doing research like 10 minutes before the show. I was like, I didn't know there was a documentary. Where can you stream this? So I Googled it. Well, guess what? It's coming out September 30th on CD, because I always said I wish they released this on CD so everybody could get it at a cheap price. And the CD's coming out September 30th, along with the documentary on a separate disc. And it's only $15 on Amazon right now.
Oh,
I just
sweet.
pre-ordered it. So I highly recommend getting your little collecting fingers, go on Amazon and pre-order that shit. Armando, I know you're going to do that right after this.
Amazon,
And,
here I come.
Yes. So, and there's also a bonus track on it, like when they were doing a sound check. It might be Schools Out on this. It might be Schools Out as the bonus track. So yeah, go out there, do it. Yeah. And like I said, I always hated, there's only 200 of these. Every time I want to listen to it, I got to touch it. You know, Pete wouldn't care. He would take out Fantastic Four #1 and start going, okay, inside the cover. Here we go, licking his fingers. Yeah, look at that ad. Look at that ad. Isn't that funny? Anyways, this is where we get
Detective
introduced to the
38.
guy.
Yeah.
I'm not like that.
And meanwhile, a bunch of geeks are going, oh my God, he's doing
Yeah,
it.
stop that.
Yeah.
So yeah, September 30th. I'm excited to see the documentary. I hope there's a lot of live footage. I really hope so.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna look it up.
Oh, I know you are.
Armando,
regards to Alice's voice.
you put Jeff Bezos into space single-handedly, Armando. I'm telling you, you're some man with your
It's a
Amazon.
curse. It's real.
We need
What are you
to
gonna
get
do?
somebody better for you to shop with. So I hate Jeff Bezos so much.
Well, as my mother used to say, what are you gonna do? So I mean, it is what it is.
It is Dennis Dunaway's autobiography that he was doing. The book
It's a
back.
very good book, by the way, if you haven't read it.
Snakes, Guillotines, Electric Chairs is the
Yeah,
name
it's
of
a
the book.
fun read. It's a good one.
Mhm.
I will say, in regards to Alice's voice, his voice has held up remarkably well over the years.
Yeah.
And I think it's just his singing
style.
He's not one of those guys who, he's never blown out his
Not
voice 'cause
Oliver,
he's not.
yeah.
He's never trying to sing above his means. And I think
He's not Ronnie James Dio or anything,
No,
but he
no.
gets the job done
Never
and it
tried to be.
works.
Yeah.
Although
Ronnie's
Ronnie's voice never deteriorated either. So,
If I was to get a live recording, I'd like to get a Cooper recording of the Welcome to My Nightmare, like 2011 release. Like that.
I wonder if Sydney has this.
because I love that album.
She
Welcome
might.
to My Nightmare.
she might. Sydney's got a lot of Alice stuff.
If she doesn't, I'd be really surprised.
Yeah, right.
So,
All right, Davey, your final selection of the day.
excuse me, I was meeting myself having a conversation with someone. The great thing about the curse of the collector is sometimes, you get gimmicky nonsense that appeals to you because that's who we are sometimes. But the other great thing is when you get to share music you love with friends, and that's what I'm going to focus on here because it's stuff that I already have. But do you ever have that thing where you're into a band in a massive way and then somebody else gets into a band and it almost feels like through them you can listen with fresh ears because they're so excited and they get so happy and
You could do that with
into
movies
something-
too, when someone watches it for
Exactly.
the first time and you've seen it
Exactly.
a billion times.
You're almost picking up vicariously on what they are. And in the past week or so, good buddy Ryan's been getting into, and he knew the record a little bit, and he'd heard them before, but he's been massively into big stuff. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. Alex Chilton post the Box Tops, obviously, Chris Bell post Rock City, power pop, seminal stuff. One of the great debut records of all time. It's heavy in places, it's melancholy in places. It's got some of the best sequencing you'll hear because they intentionally decided to go for some real bangers up front and then real downers inside B. Just one of the classic debuts of all time. And because Alex had The Letter as a #1 single when he was only a teenager, I think he was 15 when The Letter was #1 in the Billboard charts with the Box Tops. And Chris Bell was such a fanatic in the studio at Ardent when Stax bought Ardent. They sound like they've made 20 albums at this point, even though this is their first record. It's insane. It's one of the best sounding records you will hear. Some of the kind of tracks that have taken on a new life over the years are like In the Street, which has been used in theme tunes and things. And 13 is one of the best kind of acoustic ballads you'll hear. Don't Lie to Me, just an insane rocker with My Baby's Beside Me. But then it goes really, really deep and soulful, not soulful in the Aretha Franklin sense, but soulful in terms of the dark night of the soul, with Chris Bell and some of the personal issues he had about his own sexuality and his own Christianity and reconciling the two. So he leaves the band, and then we go on to Radio City, their second album, which is, again, a stone cold masterpiece. It's like 2 for 2 so far.
I've seen that advertised, yeah.
Which is, to me, just every bit as good, just different, because Chris is no longer involved apart from a little bit. But this has got just seminal power pop tracks like September Girls Do So Much. September Girl was one of the great songs of the 70s. Sitting in the back of a car, music so loud, which went on to be covered by Cheap Trick and then used as a theme tune for that 70s show. That's how seminal that became. Oh My Soul's one of the best openers. Again, just like Feel On Here, Oh My Soul's a stunning opener. But then Alex decides, ever the contrarian, that I'm kind of sick of power pop. I'm sick of this. Wasn't called it at the time, but I'm sick of that kind of power pop stuff. I'm going to make him an Alex Chilton record. And he pretty much on his own makes Big Star's third, Sister Lovers, which takes away the power pop and puts in the most baroque, haunting stuff you've heard in your life. It's dripping with sarcasm. It's almost proto-punk, but not musically. I just mean in terms of the attitude. It just drips with sarcasm and loathing for the lack of success that these two albums had that would then go on to become hailed in later years. But you have great things on it, like his stunning cover of Femme Fatale by the Velvet Underground. Holocaust is one of the darkest things you'll ever hear. Believe me, it lives up to its title. Thank You Friends, Stroke It No, Kiss of Me. A great version of a whole lot of shaking going on. And on the CD versions, you'll get things like his version of Till the End of the Day by the Kinks. And boy, does he do a cracking version of that. And then Big Star reunited in the 90s with a couple of members of the Posies. Really just Alex and Jodie at that point. And produced one more record in 2005, Big Star in Space, which is more of an Alex solo record with a couple of contributions, but it's still got some really cool stuff on it. So this is definitely not where you'd ever start with Big Star, but there's still some absolutely fantastic stuff on it, including a great version of Mine Exclusively, that great garage rock song by the Olympics from 1966. So yeah, Big Star, Alex Chilton. And I want to just recommend the documentary about the band while we're here as well. Nothing Can Hurt Me. One of the, wow, this will break your heart if the music doesn't. The music will make you laugh, cry, and dance at the same time. A great 70s concert live at the Lafayette Rooms, which, wow, again, you will dance while you're crying. It's quite an extraordinary experience with Big Star. And yeah, to me, they're up there with the greatest power pop bands of the era, such as your Raspberries, which again, nice little 4 CD of all the complete Raspberries there. So yeah, which you can get cheap as well. To go back to our theme of not every box set needs to be super expensive. This is the complete works of the Raspberries. And I got this.
Yeah, the Raspberry stuff is great as well. Yeah.
Yes. Wow. Fresh and Side 3. Oh my God. And
what's their big hit that I would know?
Please go all the way. It feels so right.
I don't know that.
Huh. Yeah, from the
you know it.
If you heard it, you would know it's from the first album.
Yeah.
The first song in the first album.
But also, John Lennon was a massive fan of the Raspberries. Wore a T-shirt about.
He was,
and he's on. He helped some of the recording sessions for Overnight Sensation on their last album, and this title track for Starting Over, their last record, is one of Bruce Springsteen's favorite songs of all time. So that was a quick double dip of power pop there from Alex Chilton and Chris Bell, Jodie Hummel and Jodie and Andy Hummel and Big Star, to the Raspberries and Eric Carmen and Wally Bryson and Dave Smalley and co. Wow, what a band! What two bands! Power pop, folks. 1970s power pop genius. Yeah, can't go wrong with any of it.
Hold on one second.
Yeah, I got it.
You know that, right?
I don't think I know it. How did I know the name of the band.
When I first heard that, like the way he was singing like that, I thought it was like bloody Roy Orbison, for God's sake. Like literally, I didn't know it was Eric Cartman.
I'd be
So, yeah.
shocked if you'd never heard that song, Jamie. That's a huge song.
I heard that in the movie of Dark Shadows when they did.
Yeah, but it's in Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's
Yeah.
just a perennial radio
That's
song.
true.
You know,
Oh, I think I know that. Yeah.
It's licensing heaven
Sounds
for
like
them, because it's
Sweet
like
a little bit.
it gets licensed
Yeah.
all the time.
And
right?
it-
So
And if you love the Raspberries, folks, check out Eddie Carmen's first 3 solo records on a 3-fer from BGO. So,
Yep.
yeah,
BGO. I love BGO.
BGO,
That's
yeah.
great.
But talk about value for
Love
money.
the two
BGO, Beat
Yeah.
Goes On Music, folks. Just search by a label BGO Records, and you will hate us because we'll just cost you a lot of money, probably.
Yeah, it's a great way to get caught up on catalogs. BGO has
Yeah.
reissued their stuff. Yeah,
2-fers and 3-fers, yeah.
cool. All right, Scott.
Davey, I just want to say, Davey, that's a very impressive collection. Big Star, my in for Big Star, and Alex Chilton was the replacements, and they had some
Yeah.
Alex Chilton, and
I got to listen to Big Star.
big fan of Big Star as well. But I think you and I talked about this on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta put the replacements first for me. I mean, they were huge.
Yeah, and I guess it's where you come in. But listen, I'm not putting down Paul Westerberg anytime. It's win-win, isn't it? That's the great thing about all these discussions. Ultimately, we can rank things, but we never really have to choose. You don't have to throw out your second best. You can keep it all.
Exactly.
God
Very
bless music and all who sail on it.
So anybody here have trouble picking stuff for this show? Am I the only one that ever seemed to have?
Sometimes.
Well, I think part of it was
Like
Pete
new
had-
stuff. If we want to keep it like what I just bought sometimes, because I'm buying a lot more movies lately. So the
Yeah.
music purchases.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Pete sent out the thing this week, the reminder, like I think about Wednesday or Thursday, I forget. And I was like, oh shoot, I don't have anything yet, so I gotta put something.
I got
together.
No,
tons.
Scott, I've been watching your Facebook posts. You've been buying a good amount of music lately.
Well, it's not that I haven't been buying anything. It's just like, what do I talk about though?
It's like, what do you pick, right? Yeah.
And at first I didn't have anything, and then I got like, okay, here's one, here's two, and then before I know, I'd have like 8 or 9. So,
Of course.
so I'm good for next month. Anyway,
So am I actually.
this is an artist that doesn't get a whole lot of coverage in SOT, but there's no denying his status as legendary figure in music. His influence on nearly all genres of music, but especially soul and funk, is measurable. And I'm talking about hardest working man in show business, the godfather of soul, James Brown.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is
I remember that
this album
set.
is Star Time, 4-disc career
Mhm.
box set, released in 1991. It's a half price books purchase, so I got it for $29.99. And this set is just chock full of amazing songs, full of high energy, tight arrangements, and funky beats. And I defy, regardless of your musical preferences, to sit still when a James Brown song is played. And there's just a staggering number of musicians on here that have accompanied him over the years. Some of the better known ones, the great Maceo Parker on tenor sax, Pee Wee Ellis on alto sax, Bootsy Collins on bass, among many, 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 many others.
Oh, yeah.
Strangely enough, I passed on this a few times over the years. I had a single disc, greatest hits, 20 greatest hits, and it's very good.
I have that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a great
Great
collection, but bigger is better, right?
Yep.
And this set also contains another large booklet with info about the songs,
Easy, Davey.
history of James's long career. There's a great one of him on
Yeah.
stage.
That's nice actually. I
See
like those
that?
books.
And here's him with Mick
There you
We were
go.
doing the Tammy show. Is that what it's called?
Yes,
Yeah,
which is
Tammy show.
phenomenal. Yeah, and the Beach
That
Boys
was
are on there as
pretty
well.
early appearance for the Stones.
Mhm.
If I remember
And,
correctly, when that box set came out, that was one of the biggest selling box sets of that time period because the early
In the
90s
box
was
set
exploding
era.
box sets. That was a really big seller.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
everywhere.
The one that
And-
booted the door down was
Kind
Clapton's
of a
Crossroads was the first
Sign
major.
of things to come for James, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I think he was trying to make a statement here, but yeah.
I do
Yeah.
remember seeing that set in the
Yeah.
stores all the
The
time.
hardest
Yeah.
working gangster.
And
he
it's just
was-
one of those things. Yeah, I'll get it someday. I'll get it someday. Well, someday.
Can you hold up the cover again, the box cover?
The cover to the box set?
Yes.
There you go.
That price tag is bothering me. Can you please peel that off?
Well,
Is it going to take off the paper behind it?
Yeah, that's
well, it's kind of shiny and
Okay.
I'm afraid of,
oh yeah, you might take the
Destroy
foil
it.
off. And that would be
Take it
worse.
off.
That would be worse.
All right, then it's got to be
Yeah.
there. All right.
yeah, I know what you mean though, Jamie. Yeah, the OCD kind of kicks in and you're like, I hate that being there. But
It's a terrific pick, Scott, because as you say, with the 20-track James Brown, by the time you do a couple of the real well-known hits and things, you know, what am I thinking of? It would be nothing without a woman. What am I thinking? What's the name of that song?
which one?
Man's
Man's
World.
World?
Man's
It's a
World.
man's
World, yeah.
Living in America, and you know all the more poppy stuff. You don't really
America's
get time
not
to
on.
go in. Yeah, I guess maybe the timing because that
It
would have
stops
been
about
under.
1984, I think.
But it came out for Rocky 4, so that would have been 86.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know
Apollo
why
Creed
they
does
didn't
it
include
with
it. This is
them.
1991,
So maybe it was still under license by the movie studio. But
probably.
yeah, I mean, by the time you do like a 20-track, you're not going to get stuff like his early Apollo live stuff and things, which
Mhm.
is some of the greatest James Brown you'll ever hear in your life.
Exactly. I would say if you have any love at all for soul, funk, disco,
Mm,
All there.
popular music over the last
yeah,
65 years, this
yeah.
belongs in your collection.
And get on your dancing shoes. Yeah, absolutely.
It's the
exactly.
right size as well. It's not overly, it's not bulky. It's not difficult to maneuver. And
I like how he had all these different nicknames. Like got one of his nicknames. This was Mr. Dynamite,
Yeah.
Mm,
hardest working man in show business.
yeah.
Old brother number one. Of course, Godfather of Soul.
And didn't he invent like the beat called The One or something?
The one, yeah.
yeah,
Mm,
It's actually
him,
the one,
yeah.
but yeah, that's what he called it.
Yeah,
That's a good
there's-
set. I like those
It is,
box
it's a great
sets.
set.
I like the ones that came in that kind of shape because that was kind of the thing for a while, you know,
Yeah.
back in the
They were
early.
easier to handle.
I'm okay with these. The ones I really hated were the ones that were like LP size.
Yeah.
You know, like I got a tall box set like that, like
Yeah.
the Jethro Tull, and
So funny
Yeah.
you mentioned that, Scott, because I actually was just going to talk about that. So I bought that was the 20th anniversary of Tull, right?
Mhm.
The big
Mhm.
purple thing. And I
Right.
remember I could have sworn that at some point I sold that because I figure a lot of the cool bonus stuff that was on those CDs, we all now have in in these things. And
Yeah, we don't. Yeah.
right.
So I was
Why
like,
didn't
so
they just stick to those? Like, I don't
I
understand.
don't know.
Well, that's
Oh.
another reason I have to change my picks sometimes because it's like, okay, Pete's already covered that, so I don't want
All last month, and Elton's been done this
Jamie
month,
did the
yeah.
Kinks at great
Yeah,
on this
Yeah,
first one, I
that's-
think, and I wanted to talk about the Kinks because I've kind of been getting into them lately.
Is
Yeah.
blues instrumental on one of those special tall reissues? Because man, I love that blues instrumental. That's all it's called. It's called it's on the
I
20th
think so.
anniversary.
Yeah. I'm pretty
You
sure.
make a terrific point, Pete, because even stuff like the Shatter Disaster tapes, you need to keep the nightcap set because
Oh,
you
yeah.
get the cleaned up
different.
version. Yeah,
Yeah.
you get the cleaned up
which I
version.
have.
But you don't
nightcap.
have the overdubbed Ian Anderson 90s nightcap versions in the new set. So you still need to have both if you want to be.
There's a huge difference between the nightcap Chateau Disaster,
Yeah.
Chateau Disaster from the Passion Play box.
Passion play
Right.
box, yeah.
Completely
Sorry,
different.
ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, I will keep my nightcap version of the.
Oh, you have to keep it, Armand. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
I
You
have.
keep it
I
'cause
will
it's
not
totally
pay
different.
I
Yeah.
won't.
Yeah.
I just
will-
got that recently myself.
Yeah, you
I
have
will
to have
not pay
nightcap as well.
$350.
Because quite frankly, that what
for-
makes the nightcap version so great is that there's the flute added to it, which
Yeah.
the originals has very little flute. So,
Which I
yeah,
kind
it's
of
pretty
love
cool.
to be different from a lot of Tull. But again,
Yeah.
now we don't have to choose. So that's the great.
Yeah, you gotta have it
There
all,
you
right?
go.
Yeah.
I'll be damned if I'll pay $350 for the Passion Play set, like box set.
Frank
I am
Zappa's on
not-
it, Amanda. Go to Amazon. Go on.
But to get back to
It's
my
so
point about the Tull
wonderful,
20th
David.
anniversary box set, so I thought I sold it because again, I had all the bonus stuff I already had. So then, like about I don't know, maybe
Right.
2 years ago, I realized there was still stuff on that box set that I actually don't
Yes.
have in other box
That's
sets.
true.
So I went and bought just the jewel cases with the CDs from some used from some person, not a lot of money, whatever. So and I was like, okay, now I
Right.
have it again. I shouldn't have sold it, whatever. The other day, I'm going through my closet and going through some stuff in the back of the
found it.
closet.
What did
And
you
there's the
find?
Jethro Tull
Yeah.
20th anniversary box set that I never sold. It's still sitting there in its entirety, complete. And I'm like,
We don't even know what we have and don't have.
that's unusual for me, though. Something that big.
Yeah.
I mean, how did I miss that? But it's like,
Yeah.
I must admit, I've bought the Allman Brothers at Bethel Woods on DVD 3 or 4 times because every time I see it in the wild, I go, oh, an Allman from 2005. I don't think I've got this. Come back and put it in my shelf.
Oh boy.
It can go next to
There
the
it
other ones.
Dude, I thought I was bad, Davey. The curse is really bad on you, for God's
never-
sake.
I'm a horrendous drug addict, man.
All right, Armando, your final pick of the day.
Moving on, my last choice of the day. Let's talk some Alan Parsons, shall we?
I'm this guy.
I picked up recently. I will show you the booklet. This is the Alan Parsons project, Sony from Sony Legacy. It's the album collection. All of the albums they released through Arista. It's an 11 album set. It's the entire discography, starting with from Tales of Mystery and Imagination, and they all come with these. By the way, I have this on the Mercury release, and I have this on vinyl on the 20th Century Fox.
And you
release.
need the 87 remix version of that album. So much
There you
better than the original.
They all come in these reproduction album covers with the white border on the borders there on the side of the albums. So, excuse me, guys. One coffee and I'm still screwed up in the morning. This came out in 2014. I saw it at Sunrise Records at West Edmonton Mall. Thought I'll go pick it up eventually. Went back. Sunrise cannot get any stuff from Sony Legacy anymore. They can't order anything anymore. So I'm sharing luck for that. Until I saw this on Amazon. I thought it was $64. So you get 11 albums for $64. I'm in.
Is that up
What-
to Gaudi?
Yeah, it goes from Tales
Yeah,
of
well,
Mystery and
very Gaudi.
Imagination to Gaudi.
You got everything you need. Yeah.
Yeah, and what happened, what's exclusive to the set is when they were recording Eve in 79, they were up for a contract negotiation. So Parsons sent Eric Wolfson, who did vocals and keyboards for the group, to negotiate the contract. Parsons, to appease Arista, they came up with some music that they were recording, just some demos of keyboards and piano, and they labeled it the Sicilian Incident, Sicilian Defense, okay, which is a chess term. He did it to appease Arista. He says, we're recording this new album. We're going to give it to you. Just give us a chance. Give us a new contract. They duped them, unfortunately. Instead of giving them this and finishing the tracks on this album, they came up with Turn Up a Friendly Card and said, here you go, boom, which was their commercial hit because it had songs like Time on it, which was a big single for them.
I think it's second
Games
best
people
album.
play.
Until 2000, I believe, 2012, Alan Parsons said, this album will never see the light of day, if you had anything to say about it, because it sucks. Guys, it does not suck. It's a really good album. It's all keyboards, it's all piano, all instrumental.
I streamed it once.
people can call it incidental music or just middle of the road. I think it's fantastic. I think it's a good album just to sit and listen to. And they wanted it, Sony Legacy wanted it included in the set. If you're going to release your collection, you're going to release everything. So he relented and said, okay, fine, put it in. And now when you ask him, he says, Alan Parsons says, you know what? It has its place in the catalog. I'm not going to say anything bad against it anymore because it is what it is. So yeah, so you can get all this. And again, for like taxes and stuff, I think it was like $67. So, I mean, you still get a lot for what you pay, right?
Not
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
it's-
my,
sometimes things can be a little pricey but still be incredible value, and that's the case when it's 11 albums for $60.
Yeah,
Are those
yeah.
sleeves gatefolds or are they just one sleeve?
They're one sleeve, I believe. Yeah, they're one sleeve.
Okay.
So I was about to try and unfold it, just split it open, kind of, but no, they're one sleeve.
Raspberries are single sleeve as well, if anybody's wondering.
It's
Yeah,
a good set if you're new to a band and you want to just easily
Here they come.
everything. It's perfect.
But, yeah, no,
Cops are after you.
seriously, no. I mean, if you're, I've known of Alan Parsons. Obviously, you have to be living in the cave, for God's sake, if you don't know of Alan Parsons. Even if you're just a casual fan and you want to dive into it, this is perfect.
Living in a cave or born after 1983.
Yeah, exactly. Because Ammonia Avenue was their last
Yeah.
big album with Don't Answer Me, which is one of my favorite,
Alan's such a terrific guy as well. Like, just one of the nicest people in music. Too nice for music.
and everyone knows Alan Parsons. He worked on, Dark Side of the Moon, and he produced albums for like Pilot and, people like that, groups like that. So yeah, I mean,
And that last album, Gotti has some great La Sagrada de Familia. Great song.
Yeah. And he's going through some health difficulties at the moment with his back, severe chronic pain. So
Yeah.
all the best to Alan.
yeah.
And his latest album is pretty good, actually, I think.
Yeah.
Got its
Yeah,
moments. It's not
I
bad.
can't get into his solo stuff that much. I don't know.
Jamie, I can't believe you did that with Alan Parsons. That just reminds me of Austin Powers.
Solo.
The Alan Parsons project from Dr. Evil.
And they didn't
Yeah.
and they didn't tour forever, right? Because it was supposed to be a project
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
for
Yeah.
the first album and one and done.
Yeah.
And then it kept going. And I don't think they toured until-
they had an argument. Did
Did they ever
I think
tour?
the fight with Arista was that, they wanted them to tour because the albums were selling. But,
Mhm.
Parsons is like, you know what, this is not a touring band. This is
Yeah.
it's
He's
called a
he's more of
project. It's called a project for a reason. Excuse my hooks, guys. The project for a reason. So, I mean,
Alan
we're not
Parsons
touring.
project.
Exactly. Thank you, David. He can do it better.
Yeah, he was such a
but-
meticulous guy.
Because my hands look
that-
like claws on camera on the side.
Well, it's Dr. Evil, isn't it? We love him.
So, but yeah, no, I mean, yeah, you had to be living in a cave if you really didn't know, at least hear one song from Alan Parsons Project on the radio.
He wanted to be more of a Trevor Horn type, just make music and not
Yeah.
ever touch the road, just stay in the studio and make music. The studio was his mistress.
Yeah, exactly.
He was kind of a perfectionist, right? I mean,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
a very meticulous guy.
Very
So
much
I-
so.
that has something to
Very
do with
much
why he
so.
doesn't like that one album, said it was terrible,
Well, he just, again, very quickly.
To
he
him,
just
it sounds,
sorry,
Let's
he
finish.
just thought that
Yeah.
the Sicilian defense was just like a throwaway. It's like, you know what, we'll
Right.
give this to them. We'll give this to Arista. You know what? We'll trick them. We'll say, okay, this is what's going to happen. But then we'll just go into, I've got another idea, right? And, like then Turn Up a Friendly Card came out, and there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah,
his throwaways are easily better than most people's,
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, sorry, Pete. Okay, that's my last one for the day.
My last one, hard to believe that I never owned this before, but kind of one of those better late than never things. And I've been hearing people talk about this album for many, 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 many years. They have a couple albums to their credit, but we're going to go all the way back to this band formed in 1969. This debut album came out in 1970. They're an American band. No, it's not Grand Funk Railroad. The band is called Coven. And The album is called Witchcraft Destroys Minds and Reaps Souls. Perhaps the first ever satanic band from America.
Not heavy though, right? If I
It's not heavy at
recall.
all. It's not
Yeah.
at all. That's the whole thing. I mean, this
Yeah.
looks evil as all hell. And it's got a female singer. She's gorgeous, and she's got a great voice. But this is just it's kind of like, what, when I listen to this album, it's like the Jefferson Airplane with like satanic lyrics. And maybe not quite as psychedelic, maybe a little more on the hard rock side, but there's really nothing on here that's like overly rocking. I mean, everything about this is just like, come on, it's so evil. This reissue is on a Karma Records, very cool reissue label that, were they Italian or Greek? I forget, one or the other, I think Italian. And it's just, there's nothing on the inside except all of this, lyrics and, satanic stuff. So it's like, if you're into this sort of thing,
If you're into Satan.
Yeah, it's funny because the names of the guys, and I have to show this just because. So here you have her on the slab there doing some kind of weird black mass. It's crazy stuff.
The devil raids out there, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit. But even the names of the songs, you got like Black Sabbath, White Witch, Coven in I can't even read this thing. Pact with Lucifer. Choke, Thirst, Die, Wicked
Nothing
Woman.
satanic about that, is there?
So you
Dignitaries
said they
of
have a
Hell.
song called Black Sabbath?
Yes, that's the first song on the album, Black Sabbath. It doesn't sound anything like
And what year did this come out?
1970.
Yeah, but remember, they took it from the movie, Scott, the Mario Bava movie.
Yeah.
That's a good movie, by the way. So, yeah.
Yes, so if you ever
it's-
want to see our thoughts on it, check out the Monsters Den, in which Pete and I covered Mario Bava.
But it's
Yeah.
it's a cool album because it just, again, there's like so much back history about this album and this band and how like evil they were. But then you listen to the music, you're like,
It's not evil.
I YouTubed it
No.
like, I don't know, a year or two ago. And I was like, whoa, this isn't, I was going to buy it. And I was like, it wasn't what I was expecting, but I still wanted to
Yeah.
buy it for the cover art.
yeah, well, because it's very cool. I held off on getting this forever, and I bought this recently. I think it was about like maybe $22 or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely cool for the curiosity factor. It's kind of like what's I'm drawing a complete blank on the other black band that came out the same time as Sabbath. Oh my god. Come to the Sabbath. What the hell's the name?
Yes, come to the Sabbath.
What is the name of that?
I just keep thinking of the band Chorus for some reason.
Hold on, I'll get it. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Come to the Sabbath.
Black Widow.
Yes.
Okay.
Black Widow. So it's the same deal with the Black Widow album. It's the first album is very notorious for being like such a evil satanic album, and the cover and everything like that. And they came out the same time as Sabbath, and it's like, oh, more evil than Black Sabbath. But if you listen to the Black Widow debut, it's also not heavy, and it's not, it's more about the lyrical content. It's almost kind of laughable in spots. These guys took themselves a little more seriously with that, but because she's got this kind of cool, really angelic voice, and the music isn't really heavy. There's acoustic folky stuff on there. There's kind of, there's some organ, some of the guitar work, kind of rocks in spots, but it's not a heavy album by any means.
Is it creepy?
Yeah, I guess if you allow
If
the
you pay
lyrics
attention.
to creep you out,
More
it's like
pop kind of a thing.
there's
Like more-
chanting on it, so it's
I
kind
guess is
of
the music creepy,
yeah, it's unnerving because you know what it's all about, right? And and at least it's what I've heard, that they took this stuff very, very seriously. So they they
really
didn't just have
into
these
it.
satanic lyrics and themes and ideas because they figured it was a gimmick,
Mhm.
and they would sell more records.
Right.
Obviously you're not going to sell more records, but this is what they wanted to do.
Your description, Pete, is it being kind of a bridge between that psychedelia and hippie era to the satanic stuff? It makes it sound like it could be if the Manson family cut an album,
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
God, I would
100%.
never buy
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Like well, Charlie Manson did make some
Folklore.
music.
Yeah,
I
he did.
know. I know.
So
I
it's
know.
worth a listen. If you've never checked it out, it's worth a listen. It's kind of a cool curiosity. Yeah, it's just strange. It's not what I expected at all. Because, like I said, if you like the Jefferson Airplane and you like that kind of late '60s kind of like psychedelic San Francisco type of thing, this isn't that far removed. It's just a little more serious and with just ridiculous, over the top satanic lyrics.
But if I owned it, I would still keep it in my proto metal section I have.
Probably
Just because
yeah.
sometimes things just fit there, even though it's not
thematically, if not.
Well, I mean, if that doesn't scream proto metal, I don't know, you know.
Yeah, you see, if I was to see that in the record shop, I'd stop my chair, turn around, go back and take a look at it and like, ooh, look at this. Like, you know, it would draw me in to at least stop and look at it, right? So the cover does
You say it's 1970, right?
Yeah.
The
It sounds every bit.
metalheads hadn't really staked out that domain yet.
Not quite. Yeah,
No.
not quite. But you know, it's funny. I wonder, I guarantee you a good percentage of old school metalheads probably have that. Just because you feel like it's something you should have. Right.
Right.
Yeah, they've looked at the tracks at one point on the in the racks and just went, oh, definitely, this must be heavy as hell, taking it home with them.
In 1970,
Yeah.
it wasn't a rule that evil stuff has to be heavy.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, look,
until
Yeah, there was
February
like an-
13th, 1970, when Black Sabbath came out.
I know.
Well, yeah.
But for a while, they were kind of the only game in town.
And it was
Yeah,
the-
that's what
it
it
was-
took a little trickle down for a year or so. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a Friday the 13th, ladies and gentlemen. It
Yeah.
was.
You know, and then in the '80s we got, you know, Venom and Slayer and Merciful Fate, and all of a sudden that sort of thing was like everybody was doing it. But back then, yeah, not
Now
so
you have to be Norwegian and burn down churches to shock anybody. Really.
I know, yeah, and even that nobody takes seriously anymore. So,
Yeah.
times have changed. So
Yeah.
Hey, before we wrap up, Pete, I just want to tell people, come to my page, Let's Get Physical on Facebook. We're all there and we're all collecting stuff, and we're always showing off our new collectibles and old collectibles too, and do a video and show your stuff. Once a week, once every 2 weeks, I pick someone and we do a video one-on-one, and I let the person show off all his great stuff. And I already got one in the can for next week. I couldn't get anyone. Now they're lining up, Pete. And
say that,
everyone-
all you gotta do is say that once. Like, man, nobody wants to come
Yeah.
play with me on,
Yeah.
on the video.
I'm going to cancel this if nobody takes one.
Whoa. Yeah. So yeah,
There you go.
go on over.
And stay tuned next month, right around this time, where we'll bring you another episode of The Curse of the Collector, and hopefully we'll have more stuff to show, because it
I will.
keeps showing up here, man. I don't know. It's like
Yeah, well,
never a
Yeah.
shortage of them.
I
So
will.
stay tuned for that, and I hope to see you all at Sea of Tranquility Fall Fest in just a couple of weeks, October 1st at the Chance in Poughkeepsie, New York. And visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube, all together.
All the damn
all the
time.
damn time.
For Jamie Laszlo, David Gallagher, Scott Berry, Armando Venditti, I am Pete Pardo. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night on the Hudson Valley Squares. Take care. Bye-bye.